Hey everyone, wanted to do a real quick video for us on some of the differences of different types of fixed instruments, especially with some of the interest rate changes of late. Your traditional CD ladders aren't quite working as well. So one of the alternatives that we've been exploring and looking into are these accounts called fixed annuities, or MYGAs, multi-year guaranteed annuities. Typically our knee-jerk reaction is to stay away from annuities, but we want to be clear, if we look at them as a CD alternative, we want to go through what are the differences that you might see. Of late, if you go out and do any sort of CD shopping, we'll use tools like nerdwallet.com, bankrate.com, and the joke that I keep using is that CDs are basically certificates of depression right now, because if we want to get a 1% rate of return, typically we're looking at least a 3-year CD. And with an inflationary environment and everything else that's going on, we want to be careful that not locking our money up and getting a subpar rate of return. Of note, these are subject to change as time goes on. So a lot of people will turn, instead of doing traditional CDs nowadays, use things called fixed annuities. So here's a breakout of some fixed annuity options. 2 years, 2.5, 3 years at 3%, 4 years at 3.25. These are still not terribly exciting, but they're definitely better than what we were seeing on the CD chart of earlier. There are some pop-up rates that come out too, but there are some key differences that we want to go through between having a traditional CD or a fixed annuity, or like I said, a MYGA. The concept is the same. You have a set interest rate for a set period of time. And just like with CDs, fixed annuities are similar in that sometimes they'll credit interest every month, sometimes they'll credit interest every year. Typically with fixed annuities, you'll see them every year, but some of them are set up a little bit differently. But that baseline concept is your similarity. The big differences, though, are with time. These are pretty short. You can be real short, a couple of months. You can get as long as years. Right? You can do 6-month CDs, 1-month CDs, that kind of stuff. Whereas fixed annuities typically start at 2 years as the shortest and go up to, usually we see 10 years. I don't like going 10 years, but that's a whole other conversation. If we, though, look at a time constraint, if we want to leave early, is typically where the biggest difference falls. And if I want to get out of my CD because the interest rates are better now, what is the cost? What's the slap on the wrist that they charge us? Typically, my penalty in a CD is the last 6 months worth of interest. So if we use that example of the 3-year CD at 1%, it's basically going to cost me half a percentage point to leave early. In your fixed annuity world, your penalty, typically, in year 1, it might be as high as 9 or 10%. In year 2, it might be 8%. In year 3, it might be 7 or 6, depending on how long it is. So your penalties to leave earlier are much steeper on this course versus this course. They do give us some semi-liquidity. Typically, if we have required distributions, some of them allow you to take out 10% of your balance, or some of them allow you to take your interest without any sort of early withdrawal penalties. But that right there is your biggest difference if we're leaving early. Normally, that's why we build ladders with these kind of things, do short-term to long-term, so that you always have liquidity. And obviously, you want to understand and look at your specific accounts disclosures in terms of what is my early withdrawal penalty, what is my penalty if I leave early, because every account's slightly different, and some of them are slightly different from this perspective as well. When we shop around, though, the whole concept is you stay principal protected, you get a guaranteed interest rate regardless of what's going on in the White House or the economy or the stock market. You get a guaranteed interest rate for a set period of time, and we like to squeeze a little bit more yield out of the Baer just to be combating inflation and getting a little bit more for our buck. So If you have specific questions on how this applies to your plan, lean into us, give us a shout. You can reach out through our YouTube channel. You can reach out to us through our website or give us a phone call, but always happy to see, to give you some insight in terms of how it affects you directly. These are just one option in terms of the many investment options that are out there, but I wanted to shed some light on your key differences where people are no longer CD shopping quite as much and turning towards fixed annuities as a CD alternative. Thank you.